touched on that a little bit. There's, so there's all sorts of stuff out there. As far as your phone's the easiest because we all have one. If you want to go into, I guess, get crazy with it, you can get you a DSLR. That's another option that a lot of people use. Just from my experience, just make sure if you're gonna get one, do your research on them, of course, and make sure that the sound, your sound is a big part of it. They'll forgive you for video, but they're not gonna forgive you for sound. And when you go into the editing part of your video, that's when the ugly truth will present itself. And when you hear what you recorded, and some of those cameras, there's all different types of mics. That's where it gets like I have a DSLR and it's a cheaper one, right? But the mic is hideous on it. The mic that comes on that, and it's a Canon camera, but that mic is horrible. I mean, it picks up, if the wind blows and it rattles the tin, it'll pick that up. But if you have a fan running in the barn or in your shop and it's way off, you'll hear that hiss in the background. And I'm not good at editing the audio part. I've tried to mess with it, but that's one thing that it is, to me, it's hard to get out. And that can be really annoying for somebody sitting there trying to watch like a 9 or 10-minute video. What do y'all think?
Yeah. And not to be one as well, not to be one to pick on Jake here, but I'm going to. So I know Jake had a little bit of an issue in the YouTube's comments where before he sorted his audio out with regards to being in the workshop as well and having a little bit of echo. It couldn't be helped on his part because of the building he was in. Until he sorted out his audio, he was getting a lot of nasty comments. So yeah, they're very unforgiving when they come to the audio side of things. You can have acceptable visual, but audio they're not so nice.
Yeah, it was always, can you get rid of that echo? I'm like, I'm recording in a 2,000 square foot tin can. And so it had to. So like us putting the resin room in the shop has helped with that. So even I got lavalier mics and a few different ones. I'll probably do a video sometime over all the different microphones I have, and people are going to think I'm psycho about how many I have. It's ridiculous, but you keep searching for the thing that, like Joey said, I don't know how to edit it besides turn it up and turn it down. You can mess around with some stuff, but then it makes you sound like a robot. Yeah. So the best one's going to be the one that you can just put on and use, and it just works, and you can adjust the volume up and down. It is unforgiving in the YouTube world to have bad audio, and I was lucky to do as good as I did early on because I got murdered about audio.
I was just going to say that we've actually found out recently, since starting the podcast as well, there are AI apps that can also help with audio as well.
And they'll help, because I had one that I put out and I still put it out, but it was a learning process. So I had some lavalier mics, but I had a set that was a cheaper set. You would have thought I had just tried to run to the road and back, as big as I am, because it picked up every breath. It was hideous. It was very hideous. And I send it to that AI app, and it's by Adobe, and it helped it, but it didn't completely take it out. And that's where when you place those lavalier mics, Jake could probably, everybody can attest to this. When you put it on your shirt and it starts scratching and moving, you're gonna hear it. And especially if it's on a part that needs to stay in the video, you can't get that out. And if you're not good at editing your audio, that's something that you need to pay close attention to, where that lavalier mic is. Like for me, I'm a big boy, so I breathe heavy.
No way.
Yeah. If y'all didn't know, and I gotta place I got to really, really pay attention to where I put, if I do a lavalier mic. I've since stopped using them, and I've gone to a Rode mic that's a directional mic. Now, if we're going to hit on this, there is so many different types of mics. So the directional mic is basically when it's pointed at you, you're talking to it, right? And then I think there's omnidirectional where it's going to pick up all around. So you need to be very, very, very good, or what should I say? You need to pay close attention to when you're purchasing one to make sure what type of mic it is. You know, don't just think you're buying a mic and a Rode mic that it's going to solve all your problems. It's not if you don't pick the right one.
Well, like, and for me, when I was on, I don't remember if it was Jake's Patreon or Saturday Morning Cartoons. I think it was Cartoons. And I was just using my AirPods, and they were picking up the fan in my computer. So it sounded, every time I talked, it sounded like the ocean. I couldn't tell, but everybody else was hearing it, and it ruined the audio for Jake's show, which is why I have these headphones on.
We still lived. We made it, but
so and it brings up a good point. Even like what we're doing now with the podcast, and eventually, you know, we'll all be on the same deal. But you know, the mics that you use for these podcasts, because you know, really, we have this on live on YouTube, right? And we're recording, and y'all could hear us, but we have to pay close attention to that. This is going to go and be uploaded for an audio file on our podcaster. And that's where we got to pay close attention to, because people are not going to actually see the video. They're just going to be listening to our voices. So, you know, like if y'all have noticed a difference in my sound, is I ended up getting a mic just like Jake. We all kind of have been researching, and we picked up these mics that are now made by Shure, and they're awesome mics. You know, that's what a lot of people recommend to use. So our voices are a lot crisper. I can tell the difference just in my headphones from
you and Matt are sounding awesome, man. I tell you that.
Hope we're looking.
Thank you very much.
So
There was a question from Mark L in the chat. He says, so if one were starting and not fully mic'd up, it would be better to do videos as voiceovers? Question mark.
So you can do that, or you can do music videos, or a combination of both. But you also, I think experience is very valuable. So if you do go ahead and make a crappy video, and then you'll know firsthand this microphone doesn't work, because you might buy it. You might think you have a good microphone, but you're not going to really know until you get it shot, edited, and then you go, oh, that's not the right microphone or whatever. Because
it was horrible.
I'm still doing it. I've had ones like this week. The video I put out today, the very first part of the video, I didn't have my new microphone, and I did it with a Rode mic with a lavalier. Sounds good. Everything's fine. I got it figured out, but I got a new microphone. It's actually a lot cheaper. So the last half of that video was done with that, but I was kind of nervous because I'm going to ruin a video. It's already a talking video. I can't go to music after that. But it ended up being okay. But it's just one of those deals. You might have to. I have had videos where, well, this just turned into a music video because the audio was pretty bad. But I think you do need to get a little bit of, go ahead and make some videos, even if no one sees them. You can figure out how it sounds and how satisfied or dissatisfied you're going to be with it.
You know, voiceover works every once in a while, but I mean, if you're not good at that either, or have a good mic with that, it's still going to be.
Yeah. Good point, Matt.
Yeah.
Good point. That's where you gotta have a good quality mic for if you're going to be doing voiceover, something like this, that's going to be crisp. And even though you don't think, just sitting in an office or sitting in wherever you're recording, you will get echoes, and it's still going to be there. So you got to keep all that in mind when you're recording, like ceiling fans going, these, of course, these things have voice isolation and all sorts of stuff on them. So it's one of those things. I mean, like everybody says, do your first video. Just, you're gonna learn, and you'll learn as you go. This is just my opinion, what I've learned as I'm doing, and I'm no professional at this. So, there's a lot of people out there, Jake, they've all put a lot of videos out and they've learned. I'm starting to learn, if you're going to do a voiceover, you need to shoot your video for a voiceover. So don't shoot your video talking to the camera and then try to do a voiceover to match your movements, because you're going to hate it. You're not going to be able to do it. So if you're going to shoot footage, shoot it to where you know that you're going to come in and do a voiceover on it. That's just my input on that, because I've got a ton of videos that I've got saved footage that I won't put out because the audio is just trash, and I'm not even going to try to do a voiceover. So, maybe I can come up with a creative way to utilize that footage somehow. But I mean, to me, it's not worth my time. It's just, you learn from those mistakes and
move on.
Yeah, move on.
The video I did last week, me and my daughter Jackie were out there. We were filming. It was that dust stopper thing, and so if we stop for a minute, we turn the air conditioner on. As soon as we get ready to film again, I turn the air conditioner off, because there's going to be that sound in the back, and it was hot. So we're towards the end of it, we're like, hurry up, it's hot, man.
But and there's another thing, when you're editing your video, headphones. I'm telling you, I did mine on like a computer, and I did it for a longest time doing a computer, and you don't hear that audio as well on that little bitty speaker, and you're being quiet because you're in the house and you're doing your little editing. And then Joey hit me up and said, "Hey man, you can hear your fans in the background, right?" No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but sure, you can hear it big time. And
so that's a good point. These headphones, what they do is they seal, and they don't let that backfeed. You get backfeed without these
feedback,
feedback. I'm saying it wrong, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna go on a reel.
You got the hold on.
Backfeed.
You got the backfeed. You got the feedback backfeed.
Hey.
You just say it in Spanish. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's my heritage coming out in me. I'm thinking of it in Spanish, and you say everything backwards in Spanish, and well, it's coming out in English that way. But anyhow, yeah, that's I learned that not too long ago. I didn't realize that these headphones do serve a purpose. Like if you're going to be doing a voiceover, it won't allow sound to come in. All you're doing is hearing what you're talking, right?
Yes.
If that makes sense. You're like going back to the equipment. Whatever you buy, make sure that it allows you to plug in external devices like mics, because don't just think that every DSLR camera out there is going to let you plug a mic into it. That you better do your research, because I made that mistake, and you end up with a expensive piece of equipment that you're just depending on the mic that it has. For instance, one of the videos I just put out, my main camera ran out of space on the card. So I said, well, I'll just take this other DSLR camera, which I was shooting B-roll with, and just use it to do the end credits of the video and whatever. What ended up happening when I brought it on the computer and started doing the edit, going back, and I had to go reshoot it all with the main camera, because it was just a total different, Jake saw it, a total different picture, different sound, different everything, and it didn't match. It was hideous. So I was like, yeah, if you're doing a project and you did a glue up, you're not going to be able to go back and redo that, right? So you need to keep that in mind. There's so many different things that you'll learn as you start doing this, as you start making videos and doing the content that you'll be like, go ahead.
I kind of have it figured out. I have a snowball microphone that I do voiceovers with, and I can do it with this microphone right here. It just doesn't sound the same as the lavalier mic. But the Snowball's pretty close, and I actually did it on the video that came out today. But what I used to do is when I needed to voice over so it would sound the same, I'd get my phone and hook the lavalier mic up to it, and I would just hit record another video, and I would talk into it, and then put that in the editor,
Cut the audio,
and then detach the audio from it, or I just put it. You can put it on the timeline to where it doesn't show the picture, just has the sound. And I would do voiceover like that. So just so it would sound the same. So there's workarounds for microphones and things like that. But I do think it is important to have it. If you're like this, the one today, I was talking in it as I'm explaining things, and there was a couple times throughout there that I needed to voice over. Now they need to sound similar, or it's distracting. Like if you have one that's normal and then one that's real dark or light or whatever, then it's going to be distracting to the audience, and you need to figure out how to make it as close as possible.